Welcome, okay. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am your sergeant at arms for today's meeting, who is also a practicing architect from Dhaka, Bangladesh, and also an area director of District 124 Area P1. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Please the timer, Ms. Murray. Keep your virtual hand raised as you have done already, so we can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our TMOD will lead our meeting is none other than Toastmaster Renan Ercilla. Please help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. Renan Ercilla. He is from Philippines, 5 years in Toastmasters, seasoned human resources professional with 16 years of experience in both local and multinational companies. Currently, he is serving as an HR manager. His expertise spans strategic business partnering, organizational development, and employee relations, with a strong track record of driving people initiatives that align with business goals. He is known for his building collaborative relationships across all levels and leading change management efforts that support company growth and transformation. So, dear leaders, please welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Renan Ercilla. Over to you.
Thank you so much, SM Asan Miko, for that warm introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. It's truly an honor to serve Udi for this advanced leadership speak. I'm excited to be your host as we journey through today's program, designed not just to develop our communication and leadership skills, but to also deepen our understanding of what really means with the team lead with presence. Yes, it is our theme for today, lead with presence. Leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about being fully present. What do you think now is the person on my mind that every time he speaks and leads, it catches everyone's attention? The one leader on my mind who demonstrated this powerfully was the former US President, Barack Obama. Because whether he is speaking at a press conference, addressing a grievance nation, or engaging in difficult conversations, he showed up with calm, clarity, and control. People listened not because he was the loudest voice, but because he was the most present. Obama did not rush speech. He paused. He chose his words with care. His presence, steady, grounded, and composed, commanded attention without demanding it. And that's what we call gravitas. It's the quiet authority that makes people lean it, not because they are told to, but because they want to. That kind of leadership wasn't about charisma or image. It was about discipline, mental focus, emotional balance. Barack Obama had the courage to be authentic even under intense pressure. He gave people the sense that he was fully there with them, for them. And that's the essence of leading with presence. Most of us won't stand on a presidential stage, but we all have moments at work, in meetings, even here in Toastmasters. When we're called to lead the moment, the question is, are we just participating or are we truly engaged? To lead with presence is show up with intention. It means listening with your full attention, speaking with purpose, creating space for others to think, feel, and contribute. It means being mindful of not only your message, but your mindset. Presence is not about perfect words. It's about meaningful connections. It's not about having the answer. It's about holding space so others can find their voice. Barack Obama did not just speak. He made people feel seen and heard. That's real influence. Maybe the next time you step up, whether on stage, in a conversation, or in a tough moment, ask yourself, am I leading with presence? Because when you do, you just you don't just leave an impression, but you leave a legacy. Thank you. And that is about our theme for today, and more about later for our education session. But for the meantime, let's greet our guest. Hi, guest. Thank you for visiting our dear club, Leadership Speak, an advanced club. There is a digital guest book. I hope it's posted already on the chat. Please sign the guest book so we will know more about you and to introduce more about our club to you and allow us to keep informing you of our upcoming events. And soon, hope you can be one of our members. Now, the next one who will do the speech, of not the speech, but toast speech, Erini Stamatopoulou. She will raise a toast. Erini is a passionate Toastmaster. She would like to reset the energy bar higher after her toast and motivate all participants to stay engaged and connected to the meeting. Please help me welcome, without further ado, Toastmaster Erini Stamatopoulou. Over to you.
Thank you, Renan, for the introduction. Dear fellow Toastmasters and guests, thank you for choosing to be present here today, for choosing to lead with presence. Let me ask you something. How many times have you shown up here when you didn't feel like it? when you were tired, stressed, or simply unmotivated. Yet, here you are. And that is the essence of leading with presence. True presence isn't about feeling perfect or being on all the time. It's about showing up consistently, especially when it's hard. It's about honoring our commitment to growth, regardless of how we feel in that moment. That mile walking, that email, that speech, that draft page of thesis. Every time we choose consistency over comfort, we build the presence muscle and gain strength. This demonstrates that real leaders don't wait for motivation. They create it through action. Presence isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about being reliably, authentically you, meeting after meeting, speech after speech. So today, as we focus on leading with presence, let's celebrate something powerful. We are all here despite everything else going on in our lives. We chose to show up. Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute. Open the videos and raise your glasses. Here's to lead with presence.
To lead with presence.
With presence.
Cheers. Thank
To
you.
lead with presence.
Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Renan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Erini, for your speech. It supported really the theme of the day, lead with presence. And again, for the benefits of the guest, I have to explain the agenda of the meeting. I'll be introducing role players such as timer, grammarian, and then followed by education session. Then we will listen to the stories of the prepared speakers. And lastly, the evaluation portion of the meeting that will be led by our general evaluator. Now, allow me to introduce our Swiss clock for today's meeting. Marie Cosson will briefly explain her role as a timer. Over to you, Marie.
Good day, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Marie Cousin, your timer for today. I shall time you according to the time on the agenda. After each session, I shall post them in the chat box. So you will see this card: green, yellow, and red. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Irene. And now, let's introduce our grammarian who will share the thought of the day. The Toastmaster from Singapore, Holmes Tay. Over to you, Holmes.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. For today's meeting, the word is gravitas, which means seriousness or sobriety as of conduct or speech. One example of using the word is The new leader has an air of gravitas that commands respect. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report the usage of the word of the day. Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters.
Thank you, Holmes. And for everyone, we hope we can incorporate the gravitas in all of our speaking opportunities for today's meeting. Well, Toastmasters guests, this meeting is being recorded for training and education purposes. And for our guests, I hope you enjoy the meeting. And again, the digital guest book is posted in the chat. I see it already. Kindly fill in so we can get in touch with you. Now let's move on to the education session of the meeting. The speaker or our education speaker crafted this speech to show us how leaders show up and connect, directly influence how they lead themselves and others. Without further ado, please help me welcome to lead our education session, Irene, Sadia. Over to you, Irene.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow guests, and fellow Toastmasters and guests. Pauline McCarthy said, your presence is your present. When was the last time you walked into a room and simply paused? Not to make a point, not to project authority, simply pause, being fully there. We have been raised on to think that leadership is about motion. We want to make things happen. And today, I want to present to us that presence, being truly grounded, being truly present, is the most powerful leadership trait of our time. And just to add on to that, we've been told a commanding voice, firm handshake, sharp suit, decisive tone. But there lies the problem. In our pursuit of looking like leaders, we have forgotten how to be leaders. Our world is filled with economic uncertainty, rapid tech change, social transformation. Your teams are not looking for direction. They need connection. They're not just looking for your plans, however great they may be. They need your presence. They're not looking for you to control their outcomes. They're looking for you to create conditions that will build trust, safety, and growth, not only for you, but for them as well. Leadership is not about being in charge, but it's about being fully present. To lead with presence is to show up with clarity, conviction, and consciousness, whether you be in the boardroom, at home, social settings, or even on this Zoom call. I will ask you again. Have you ever walked into a room and felt somebody's presence without them even uttering a word? Or maybe it was you who walked into the room and everybody felt your presence without you uttering a word. What was it? Was it in the way you stood? Was it in the calm in your eyes? Or the confident posture, your quiet, confident posture? You didn't need to raise your voice. You didn't need to impress. But you noticed, or other people noticed you. That right there is leadership presence. I want to add that leadership is showing up, focused, intentional. In addition, your presence means you're fully engaged. You're not just attending. And as you engage, your influence, people start to feel seen, they feel heard. Your presence turns communication into real connections. And as we've heard already, you don't need a title to lead. You just need your presence. So in a world that's filled with meetings, messages, deadlines, decisions, there is pressure to move quickly, think strategically, and execute flawlessly. Those things are important, but they're not enough. We are looking for leaders with real impact, not just what you do, but it's how you show up. Right there is leading with presence. I would like to share next that the pillars of leading with presence, and I will pick 3 today. 1 is on authenticity. Number 2 is communication. And number 3 is mindful presence. So first, authenticity. It is being real. They're not looking for perfection. People are not looking for perfection. People don't follow perfect leaders. They follow the real leaders. Authenticity means you're leading from your values. You're not putting on a show. You're not putting on a performance. You're showing up as the real you, consistently, vulnerability, with clarity as to who you are. One of the things you can say as a leader is, I don't have all the answers, but I'm here that we would figure it out together. And that level of honesty creates trust. Trust is the foundation of leadership presence. Number 2, communication. It is more in how you say a matter than what you say. You could have the best ideas in the world, but when you deliver them with uncertainty or arrogance, they fall flat. Your presence is felt in how you speak, your tone, your pacing, your eye contact, and your silence. Great leaders do not rush. They pause. They choose their words with care. They use body language to support, not to distract from their message. Even when they're saying something tough and uncomfortable, they say it with presence, and their presence allows them to say it with compassion and confidence. Number 3, mindful presence. Be right where your feet are. In our world, we are juggling many things. I'm here, but I'm thinking of dinner, and I'm thinking of the next meeting, and I'm thinking of who else I need to talk to. When you are present, you're telling your audience right here with you, I'm giving you my full attention. And people can tell the difference when you are really listening to respond or listening to understand. So therefore, mindful leaders create safe spaces, and safe spaces unlock creativity, accountability, and growth. You probably wonder, why does it matter? And to discuss why it matters, I'd like to share a story. So let us rewind. A few years back, I'm working in this organization, and about mid-morning, our colleague, Mr. N, walks in to my office and says, "Where is my payment?" And I look at him like, "I've paid you as per what is allocated to you." And he went on, "No, there is another letter." And I said, "I don't know about that. You could possibly follow up with HR to share that information." And then he got upset, really upset. And as he got upset, I also got upset. And I felt like it was about a boxing match about to begin. So I asked him, "Would you kindly walk out of my office before this gets ugly?" Mr. N walks away. Shortly after that, his line manager, Miss RM, walks in and asks me, "Why haven't you paid Mr. N?" And I told her, "I've already explained to him my position. I don't have that new authority. If I could get it, I'll be more than willing to pay." And she still stood there, and I told her, "Go and tell Mr. N. If he comes back to my office, I will beat him." Please note, I want to beat a grown man. I don't know how that was going to happen, but I was so incensed. So she walks out, and shortly, my extension rings. I answer it, and my boss says, "Can you come?" And so I walk into his office. I find Mr. N and Miss RM seated in there. And he asks me, "What is going on?" And I said, "I can already tell they may have talked to him already. And so I'm feeling very defensive." And then I tell him, I explained exactly what I'd explained to Mr. N and Miss RM. And then I told him, the company policy states I cannot pay you without proper documentation. If it's not there, I can't pay you. So if he could share that, I'm more than willing to pay. So what did my manager do? He told us, "Okay, all of you, I've heard you, walk away. I will sort it out." So I walked back to my office, and I left them going back to their corner of their office. What did that session do for me? Now, Mr. N and my manager were very good friends, very, very good friends. So I was also very fearful that he would take his friend's side over mine, but he did not. My manager made me feel seen. He made me feel listened to. And he inspired me to speak boldly, to step up and just state things as they were. That right there is presence. So that is why leading with presence is important. That is why it matters, because it doesn't just allow you to step up, you as the individual, but it allows your team to also step up, because then they know it is clear, they know what they should do. It allows all of us in the room to connect. So you don't need a global stage to lead with presence. Whether you're leading a team, you're leading one person, you're mentoring one, or it is a difficult conversation that you must have. How you show up definitely will matter. And so you may be wondering, that is all great in theory. How do I do that? How do I lead with presence? I'll give us 4 practical ways that we can start with to start leading with presence. Number 1, be here. You or your teams do not need a distracted leader. We don't need you juggling 10 things at once. We need you right here in the meeting, right here in the crisis, right here in the everyday conversations. I know it sounds simple, but it's rare. When you're in that meeting, be in that meeting. When someone is talking to you, listen, really listen. Presence begins with paying attention. And as you practice to put down your phone, close that browser, you will be right where your feet are, right there in the present. Second practical way is own your energy. What do I mean by that? Your emotional state is very contagious. When a leader is centered, he's able to calm an unstable team. The reverse is true. Your anxiety trickles from the top very quickly to the bottom. When you walk into a room anxious, distracted, thinking of something else other than where you need to be, agitated, your people will feel it. They will sense it, whether you say a word or not. Therefore, before you lead others, you must know how to lead yourself. Take a breath before you speak. Pause before you react. Reflect before you decide. Your calm becomes everybody's confidence. Number 3, communicate with clarity and calm. Presence isn't about having the loudest voice. It's about being the clearest one in the room. And just like the story I have just shared, my boss could have been loud, could have been unruly because this was his friend, but he was the calm voice in the room because both parties were both myself and the other gentleman, Mr. N, were pretty agitated. Your presence isn't about saying more. It's about saying what matters. It's about speaking clearly. It's about asking better questions. Slow down when tensions are rising. You don't need to rush to prove anything. Your presence that is calm and full of clarity already speaks for you. Number 4, listen. Listen to understand, not to reply. True presence really starts with listening, not fixing, not judging, not trying to manage, just being there. Leading with presence means that I don't have to have figured it all out. You don't have to have figured it all out. In fact, some of the most powerful moments come when a leader says, I don't know. We will fix it together. What do you think? What do you suggest? What do you see? Vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a form of presence. It shows you are real, and people follow real. Ask where you need help. Admit where you don't know. That authenticity builds more loyalty than any motivational speech ever could. Leading with presence is a daily practice. It is not a one-time hit wonder. It's not a pill you swallow and voila, you're there. And the truth is, we get pulled away from the very present. We worry about what's coming next. We dwell on yesterday that didn't go so well. Even in conversations, we zone out. We multitask. We are thinking, let me just send off this one message. Hold on, can I pick this call? Really, we are distracted. So presence is not about perfection. It's about the discipline of every day, every single day. We make a choice to return again and again to the moment, to the person in front of you, to the opportunity that's unfolding right now. Because leadership is not about what you know or what you do. It's about who you are when people need you the most. And that is where your greatest power lives. Not in your title, not in your resume, not in your ideas, but in your ability to be fully connected with others. I'd like to put a challenge across to you who's listening to me today. When you think of your roles, your challenges, what do you need to do to become more present? What do you need to do to become a better leader? So what can we start doing today to be able to lead with presence? I'll share 3 practices. Pause and breathe. So you can all pause, take a deep breath in, hold it for 5 seconds, breathe out before you react, before you speak, breathe. Take a moment of silence before your next meeting. Breathe. Presence starts with slowing down. Number 2, listen without interrupting. I wonder, have you ever been in conversations with somebody who you're talking and they already are, but I know this, and they are always interrupting you? Don't be that kind of leader. Listen with your eyes and with your ears as well. Look people in the eye. Ask them, how are you really? Looking them in the eye. Number 3, speak less and listen more. Listen fully. Ask yourself this question. How do people interact with me? Do they feel uplifted? Do they feel heard? Or do they feel dismissed? That answer will tell you everything you need to know about your presence. I'm sure every one of us wants to be the leader who has an air of gravitas that commands respect among their family members, among their teams. How are you going to show up and connect and be kind of leader? I will repeat my earlier quote by Colin McCarthy. Your presence is your present. It is your present to you, and it is your present to those that you interact with. It is not about the future, the past, but this very moment. And it is true, we learn from our past, but don't live there. It's also okay to plan for the future, but don't live there either. If you really, really want to connect with your people, to go far, to be happy with your life, don't lose what is precious now, this one, the present. Would you ask yourself, how am I empowering others, my teams, those around me, by the attention that I give them? How am I leading with presence that will leave a legacy that speaks long after my session or interaction with them comes to an end? Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Irene, for that insightful and empowering session. Your message supported out theme for the day, live with presence, and reminded us to stand on what is right. As leadership, it's not about position or authority. And that's what we call gravitas. All right. Hope our guests enjoy so far. The learning we got from our education session. I heard a lot of outstanding words and phrases from Irene's speech. If you want to know more, guest, I recommend filling in your details in digital guest book posted in the chat, so we will get in touch with you for our upcoming events. Now we will begin our prepared speeches for today. We have 4 prepared speakers who will share stories. Our first speaker, supposedly she's the second, but there's arrangement wherein she is now the first speaker, Elena Constantinou, who will deliver a speech under engaging humor pathway. It's an icebreaker speech, so we will have to know more about the speaker, Elena. But before that, let's spotlight the evaluator, Hannah Smith, to read out the purpose statement. So, over to you, Hannah.
Francois. Thank you so much. I know that we are all excited to hear from Hannah. I know, but I am.
Sorry.
I am Elena's evaluator, no worries. And Elena's speech is 4 to 6 minutes. It's an icebreaker. The purpose of this project is for the member to introduce themselves to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. And we are looking forward in hearing from our Toastmaster Elena, from her engaging humor path. There's some things she did say to me she want me to look out for, and I'll be saying that in my evaluation. Back over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Okay, it's my mistake because Hannah it's the evaluator for our education speech. Right. So, Elena, let's please help me welcome Elena Constantinou, Quitter of the Year. Quitter of the Year. Elena Constantinou.
I am proud to say I am a quitter. Not once, not twice, not even 3 times. I have quit smoking 6 times. Quitting is easy. The hard part is not starting again. That is why I have failed over and over again. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, my relationship with addiction is a roller coaster. I picked up smoking at the age of 16. Parents smoked, relatives smoked, friends smoked, indoors too at the time. That veil of smokiness seemed cool, mysterious, rebellious. I didn't realize I was signing up for a lifetime relationship, the kind where you break up constantly, but somehow keep getting back together. My first attempt to quit was in my mid-20s when I was working and later studying for my MBA in London. I had become a vegetarian and I thought, why not get healthy all at once? However, removing steak and cigarettes from my life simultaneously was not a sustainable life choice. I lasted less than 1 year. Turns out you need at least one vice at parties to stay interesting. So I decided to remain cool with my roll-ups and my cigarillos, and I even smoked cigars in a pipe. So cool, or actually cold, because smoking was getting banned inside and smokers had to stand outside in the freezing wind. A few years later, my nicotine addiction met pregnancy. 3 children. 3 more opportunities to quit. And I was very responsible. I stopped every time I found out I was pregnant, immediately, without even a goodbye smoke. 9 months of pregnancy and usually 9 to 12 months of breastfeeding, no cigarette would ever touch my lips. But the moment I stopped breastfeeding, my brain would declare with a certain gravitas, "Congratulations, you've kept a human being alive. Your reward? A cigarette." And there I was, rolling again. I knew my kids would eventually catch on, and now that they're teenagers, they've caught on with a vengeance. "Mom, smoking is disgusting." "Mom, you're so embarrassing." That's just Gen Z for "I care for your health, Mom." So, but even if one of them texted me an article saying, "Smoking kills and so does hypocrisy." Touche, teenagers, touche. At 42, I quit with a group of 5 friends. We were like the Avengers of nicotine withdrawal. We had a WhatsApp group named Smoke Free and Fabulous. By week 2, the name had changed to Smoke Free and Furious. Only 2 of us made it. I wasn't one of them. But now, at 48, something's changed. You see, I've decided to become an educator. And educators don't hide behind buildings, puffing nervously before class. They inspire, guide, they're role models. And most importantly, they don't set off fire alarms during recess. None of my coaching partners or partners in my training company, Evolving Minds, are smokers. 6 months ago, I had a real turning point. I cannot be an evolving mind and a smoker. And this time, quitting isn't just about health or willpower. It is about identity. it is about love. I love education more than I love that first puff of relief in the morning. So here I am, a recovering smoker, a professional quitter, and a hopeful educator. And if my kids keep nagging me, I may even become a motivational speaker against smoking, light up the room, just not with cigarettes. One thing's for sure, this speech was smoke-free, and I plan to keep it that way. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Elena, for that wonderful speech that you shared to us, your story. All right. Now let's move on to the next speaker. The next speaker will deliver a speech under Leadership Development Pathway Level 4 Speech Project number 1, Leading Your Team. To begin, let's call on first his evaluator, Leia Musunga, to read out the speech purpose of Toastmaster Luciano. Leia, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. The purpose of Luciano's speech is for the member to lead a small team to the completion of the project. So it will share some aspects of this and the experience of leading a team. I mean, I'm sure that the speech will hold a lot of gravitas that they probably learned as they were leading their team. Thank you, and back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Okay, thank you, Leia. For Luciano, before you said before you lead others, you have to lead yourself. Please help me welcome Luciano Joao. Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Luciano Joao, over to you.
Be true to yourself. How do you know that you are true to yourself? Think about it. How can you tell? How can you prove that you're being true to yourself? It's very important. First of all, how do you know that you're being true to yourself? You need to have values, beliefs. And then once you have those, and you know that you're following those in every decision you make, then you know that you are being true to yourself. For instance, one of the values that I have is honesty and integrity. Honesty and integrity. What comes to your mind when you hear those two words? How would one who has honesty and integrity as a value behave? What do you expect to see from that person? Let me spell that out to you. So when it comes to honesty and integrity, it's extremely important because every decision I take, I always have honesty and integrity guiding that. Let me go back. So on those, when it comes to values, values are those core beliefs that help you decide what's right, what's wrong. What are the most important things in life? Values help you to understand what's right, what's wrong, and what are the most important things in life. So for me, when it comes to deciding that, I use the values that I have, honesty and integrity. Whenever I want to make a decision, I take that into account. When one has honesty. When we speak about honesty, let me delve a little bit into this value, honesty. What's the meaning of the word honesty? When we go into the origin of the word honesty, it's a word that comes from the Latin word, which means light. It comes from the Latin word that uses to spell honestem, where that word referred to honor, reputation, and uprightness. That was the meaning of that word. Honesty. That was the meaning of the word in Latin. But in the 14th century, that word was used in English language, in order to mean truthfulness and integrity. So that's how one uses that word. And to give you an example of that, one goes, for instance, earlier this year, I was put in charge of a team where we had to apply some of the solution that was developed by our engineering contractor in order to solve the problems we were having with incidents here at the plant. So I was put in charge of a task force team where I had 8 people working for me. So being in charge of that team, I had to lead people that were more experienced than me and less experienced than me. And in leading them, I had to be true to myself by following my core values, which is with honesty and integrity. In situations where people were not delivering their work, when I was assigning a task to them, people were slow in delivering. The approach that I took is the approach where I would have a conversation with the individual and tell them how the way they're behaving but not producing result and being slow, how is that affecting the work of the group? By doing that, I was being true to myself, by being true to my values, honesty and integrity. When I see something that's going to damage the work or is going to stop us implementing the solutions, I address it. But when I address it, I have to address it with honesty and integrity in order to solve that. And that was extremely important. By doing that, we were able to implement the solutions and bring about improvement in safety at the company. It was a very good experience because when leading a team, you have people that have more experience than you that will try to impose their decisions on you, but you have to be strong. You have to be strong and true to yourself. When you're true to yourself, you know what is the objective of the team, what the team is doing. And one, as a leader, you have to be true to yourself and stand your ground and not be influenced by the other team members who have more experience than you. But being true to yourself, you are in a position where you can say, confidently saying, calling people to attention when whatever they're bringing to the team does not add value. And it's extremely important to be true to yourself. At the end of the day, when it comes to being true to yourself, you need to have your guiding values that will help you make a decision in every situation you are facing in life. For instance, with me, I have honesty and integrity. That's what helps me make the decisions. And whenever I make my decision based in honesty and integrity, I'm being true to myself. That's how I know that I'm being true to myself. Then what do you do to know that you're being true to yourself? I know by using honesty and integrity. What about you? Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Luciano, for your speech and your shared stories on how to be true to yourself. Now to do this, be honest and with integrity. It is really a trait of a leader. Thank you, Luciano, for sharing your story. All right. So now moving on to the next or third speaker, Guerdah Felix. Nice to see you again, Guerdah. Fellow Toastmasters guest, Guerdah will deliver a speech under Persuasive Influence Pathway Level 1, Speech Project number 4, Evaluation and Feedback. For the purpose statement, let's spotlight the evaluator, Ray Rivera, to read the speech purpose. Over to you, Ray.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Today, Guerdah will be presenting the first speech from the Evaluation and Feedback Project. This is a project that I love the most for all Toastmasters because we can always go back to that cycle of speaking out, doing our speech, getting the feedback, and doing it again. It is a great way to learn how we can improve our speaking abilities. Today, Guerdah has asked me not only to evaluate her and provide her with good feedback, but she also asked me about her authenticity in coming across to the audience. Did she connect? Did she look natural? Did she look relaxed? Did she use the appropriate space both on the stage and in her speech in the way of pauses? This is what she has put together as a challenge for me as her evaluator. Over to you, Renan.
Thank you, Ray. Fellow Toastmasters guest, for Guerdah, we can tolerate the uncomfortable here moments. We are able to progress quickly. Without further ado, let us welcome Guerdah Felix. You are here, Guerdah Felix.
Until that time, you are here. This is the beginning of a conversation with Captain Algren and Samurai Katsumoto from one of my favorite movies, The Last Samurai. We have Captain Algren raging because he was captured by Samurai Katsumoto. Captain Algren likes to drink and like to pick a fight, but in his captivity, he could no longer drink. Therefore, he was still raging. What the hell am I doing here? And then you have very calming Samurai Katsumoto. And his answer to Captain Algren was, in the spring, the snow will melt, the borders will open. Until that time, you are here. You are here. Have you ever experienced a you are here moment? You know, the moment where you don't want to be here, but you have to take the time to be here so that however you used to be, you can change that. I am in the midst of a you are here moment. And in the beginning of that moment, I was raging like Captain Algren. I kept thinking, it's their fault. They made me do this. And as I sat in that moment and observe and feel, I started to experience something else. You know, before in those you are here moments, I would do everything I needed to do in order for me to numb myself. Do you know what I would do? I would eat ice cream. I would go to the store and buy purses. I would order online things that I did not even need, just so that I would numb the pain, just so that I wouldn't feel the fear. But this time, I did not have a choice, because if I wanted to be a better person, I needed to sit in that you are here moment. And I tell you, it is painful. It is so painful that I experienced this, not once, but twice. This is what happened. As I sat in this you are here moment, I felt that my body wanted to leap out of me. And I wondered, what was that? I had never felt this before. But you know why this happened? It's because I could not numb my pain any longer. Therefore, I had to sit with it. Very uncomfortable situation. So here is what started to happen. The rage left. And I started to take responsibility to what I had done before that took me to that present situation. It was no longer about what they did to me. It was, what was my part in this? And as I started to pay attention to that, I was taking notes. Because I don't know if you know, you don't become anything because of what people do to you. You become something or anything because of what you've done to yourself. And that's how me sitting in the you are here moment allowed me to notice and observe what was happening. And the fear gave way to hope. I started to feel now that I no longer felt, well, the way that I felt before, I no longer felt this way. I was feeling more empowered, because what I felt before was not only fear, but also pain. And that gave way to power. It gave way to new vision. It gave way to new purpose. It gave way to new plans. So ladies and gentlemen, when you go through your you are here moment, what have you observed? And if you've never been to this moment, I will tell you something, I can guarantee you will. And here is what I want to say to you. When you go through these moments, please take the time to sit and observe and feel. Because like Samurai Katsumoto said, until that time, meaning until you become who you were created to be, you are here. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Guerdah, for that a powerful reminder to enhance the you are here moment. Your message was a gentle yet strong call to be present and intentional in our everyday lives. All right. Now, going on to our last speaker, Mrinal, Ghosh, who will deliver a speech under Visionary Communication Pathway. Level 5, Project number 1, Develop Your Vision. For the purpose statement or speech purpose, what the speaker will do. Let's call on the evaluator, Rozy Rana. Rozy, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Our speaker, Mrinal, has spent time during this project developing a detailed vision, a vision for his personal and professional life. Now, if you have ever developed a vision, you know this requires clarity, it requires purpose, and a certain air of gravitas because of the introspection as well as the forward thinking. Today, Mrinal will share some aspects of that vision. It could be the process of coming up with it. It could be the benefits of the same. He can choose what he delivers in his speech, but it relates to the crafting of his vision. Thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Hey, thank you, Rozy. Fellow Toastmasters, guest, Mrinal, Ghosh, chase your dreams. Chase your dreams, Mrinal, Ghosh.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Have you ever waken up with a fire in your heart and whisper in your mind and saying you are mean for more? I have, although sometimes it's hard to tell whether it's my inner voice or not. Sometimes I just alarm my clock and sometimes screaming, Mrinal is screaming, you are late again. It's happened with all of us. But jokes aside, that whisper becoming roars, a visions, a dream I could no longer ignore. Today, I want to share that vision with all of you. A vision that started with a small spark in the back of my mind and somehow survived my love of procrastinations, Netflix, and weekend nap. It involves into a detailed roadmap that now guided in every state of my life. Growing up in a small town, we often dreams were merely seen as a luxurious. Sometimes we are allowed to think about only after you did some carols, finish your homework, spend time with family, and then if you're lucky, survive with joint family dinner interrogations. But trust me, I always believe dream weren't just a luxurious. It's an oxygen. They give life to inner meaning, directions, and also color to our lives. And without them, we are basically just ambitious houseplant, nothing else. For me, it started a desired journey, a meaningful impact in healthcare. It's just not about only professional gain or someone who could influence system, policies, and access to our healthcare system. That dream led me to becoming a market access manager in GlaxoSmithKline pharmaceutical company in India. And I was now taken into another classroom, the classroom as a students of senior management program from IIM Indore, Indian Institute of Management Indore, one of the pioneer institute in India. Pursuing my senior management program is definitely a humongous task for me after doing my work. Yes, I willingly go back to school, and I thoroughly enjoyed the campus of my college. that should tell you how serious am I? Am I serious? Because nothing says passion like voluntary group projects, late night PowerPoint edictions, spent with group study almost 1:30 a.m. in the midnight. It's really a challenging job, but you have to do it if you chase your dreams, whatever passion you have. But it isn't just about only just a career move for me. It's a step towards a greater visions. One has the help to shape access to the healthcare policy in globally, which is right now is the more challenging part across the globe. In simple terms, I want to be a person who helps ensure that medicine doesn't reach shelves. It reaches to all the needy people across the globe. No, dreaming is great, but unless your dream comes with a Google Calendar and to-do list is nowhere, my friends. Here's how the clarity is stepping out. Yes, I wrote down my long-term goals for 5 to 10 years, where I'll be in the next 5 to 10 years. I visualize day-to-day basis. I rewrote them, my story. Then once again, I rewrote my story and realized that now I become the CEO of everything. Might need a little tickle. I know it's a Gravitas task for me to do that, because when you're having a higher vision, we have to achieve that. And for that, continuous learning, you're committed to your lifelong educations throughout Toastmasters, books, courses, YouTube, TEDx, whatnot. A lot of materials are already there, but you have to follow on day-to-day basis. Your commitment is required a lot. And for that, action. Action is the most important and crucial aspect of achieving your goals. I started putting in daily work like skills, LinkedIn, and referring my personal brand in the LinkedIn and updating my LinkedIn profile on regular basis and trying to connect with the positive, like-minded people who can share my visions turns into reality. I know that resilience is part of our life. There are rejection, delays, and we fail. A lot of time we fail, whatever we did. But you have to be in the right directions. So I follow one model that is called TMR model. TMR. So target, M for measure, R for result, and another R for reflection. So whatever task I'm doing right now, I just write it down on monthly basis and try to evaluate where am I and where I am I to lead, how I can help the team, how I can serve the people. I think these all are very much important. So above all, it means staying true to yourself, your values, your passion, and your purpose. It makes a lot of difference. Fellow Toastmaster, I urge you, please close your eyes and think, what is your dream? Have you ever yourself permission to chase it? Because you haven't a good news. You don't need a permission slip. You just need a little courage, little consistency, and maybe little strong cup of coffee in your plate. Let's your dream evolve into visions, and let's that vision drive into actions. Because when you chase your dreams with your passion and purpose, you don't just change your life, you become the plot twist in someone else's story. What do you think, Toastmaster of the day?
Thank you very much, Mrinal, for that inspiring speech with passion and gravitas. Your speech, chase your dream, reminded us to stay focused and never stop believing in what is possible. Again, thank you, Mrinal. To our dear guest, Thank you for being part of a meeting today. Hope you enjoyed the speeches, the energy, and the spirit of Toastmasters. If something today sparked your interest, made you smile, or made you think, we'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to sign our digital guest book. It's a simple way for us to stay connected and for you to take one small step forward your own journey in communication and leadership. Please stay as we may contact you later or call you later to give feedback before the end of our meeting. Now, before I hand over the virtual lectern to our general evaluator, I kindly ask our timer to post the time report if it's not time now in our chat box, and the Zoom master to launch the poll for the best effort speaker for today's meeting. Okay, we have 1 minute to vote for our best effort speaker. Let me know, Zoom master, if the poll has been ended, so we can resume. Let's stretch because it's already 10:53 p.m. here. It's about 11 p.m. But Renan, it's still awake.
Poll has ended.
Okay, thank you, Zoom master. Now let's go to the last part of the meeting where the general evaluator will help us sustain that word class of feedback and make connections. The general evaluation will be led by Angela Brown. Angela has been a Toastmaster for 4.5 years or 4.5 years. She completed 4 pathways, including DTM project. She loves Toastmastering and has been an area director, club coach, president, vice president of education, and more. She's aiming now to complete her DTM by end of the year 2025. A lot of achievements. Over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Renan. I just wanted to say that we had a great meeting so far. All the speakers spoke with Gravitas, which brought to life their speech and their shows credibility and authenticity. Now we're at the time where I will be calling the evaluators to evaluate the speech of our speakers. And first, I will call Nocawe. Nocawe was going to evaluate, Elena. Sorry, Elena was going to evaluate the speech of evaluate the toast. Sorry, Elena is going to evaluate the toast.
Good evening. Thank you.
Just a little flexibility sometimes.
Great communication and flexibility. To evaluate the toast of such a good friend, it's always an honor, as I have been fortunate to watch Irene present in person as well. And her kindness and generosity whenever she's delivering
a gift to us. It's certainly inspiring. First of all, I would like to commend her on her, as always, excellent use of vocabulary, phrases. The phrases and the paragraphs were beautifully constructed. And as a second wonderful positive, I'm always enjoying her pacing, which is very harmonious and beautiful, really. And it really engages us and allows us to follow and really absorb what she's offering us as a present. I also enjoy her repetitions, her use of the rule of three. Her techniques are always very well thought out because she's both smart and generous and very, very well prepared. Now, since this is a Zoom meeting, and I would like to offer Irene a few tips on how to be to command the virtual stage a little better. The Zoom presence, for example. The hand gestures, I miss those because Irene always has such a nice body language, and it would be useful if she finds a way to incorporate the hand gestures and the use of her body. Also, she's generally usually more expressive in the face, so that would be something that she can practice on and elaborate, and maybe choose a couple of expressions to give us the best of her. And also, this is a very common mistake when we hold the glass. If you don't have a green screen, it's better to hold the glass against yourself so that we can actually see it and it doesn't disappear into the background. Overall, Irene, thank you so much for your great vocabulary, pacing, and beautiful preparation and repetitions. If you take a few tips on your facial expressions, body language, hand gestures, and your overall Zoom presence, it will be, and as always, it will be a delight to watch you present with such gravitas. Thank you, my general evaluator.
Thank you, Elena. Now I'm going to call on Nzinga. She will be evaluating the Toastmaster of the day. Nzinga, when asked about the theme for today, she said, she's been a Toastmaster since 2006, and she currently lives in Angola. And she believes that the presence is the ability to genuinely connect, inspire, and trust, and positive influence others. Now we will hear her evaluation.
Renan, you did very well in building your presence as the meeting went on. You started to introduce comments after the speeches, which demonstrated that you were listening, noting the takeaways, and sharing even what resonated with you. The engagement after the first portion, after the speeches with the guests, was a huge difference from the start. It felt like you were enjoying more the meeting. You were here presenting with gravitas, actually enjoying the meeting. Well done for that. I suggest you work on spending more time preparing the meeting. You had a challenge to facilitate this online meeting with multiple players from around the world. I think it's about 10 p.m. you're here. You engaged with us at midnight your time, but you could have asked for help and make sure you had more closer engagements with the speakers and also with the helpers. That would make you more relaxed throughout the meeting and maybe not miss the opportunities at the beginning where, regarding your partner, Irene, in this theme, you missed the opportunity to talk a little bit about her or about the project or even call the evaluator
to talk about those aspects. So I suggest you do that. And during the meeting, being present. Sometimes you zoomed out, other times I know it's late, but you were like this or like that. It appeared that maybe you're tired, I don't know. I really enjoyed when you shift and suggest we stretch. Nothing stopped you from moving, even moving around to keep your energy, because I enjoyed when you asked us to stretch. Overall, Renan, thank you for being present. Across the time zones, you managed to be here to facilitate this engaging meeting, to suggest a theme that is relevant to the audience. I would recommend spend a bit more time preparing and connecting before the meeting. During the meeting, strong eye contact, maybe coming closer to the camera every now and then. Stand tall, sit tall. If you want to introduce gestures, make sure we can see them fully. And by all means, loosen up, invite us to stretch or whatever suggestions you might have so we can enjoy the meeting and keep you energized. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Nzinga. I really enjoyed your evaluation. I found it, I like the fact that you showed like eye contact and told him to be tall, and you had the expressions and you were actually showing him what you meant by what you were evaluating. So I really liked that. I thought that was really great to give him that visual of what he needs to do. Next, I'm going to invite Hannah to evaluate the speaker, Elena.
I am evaluating Irene. Madam General Evaluator, and especially Irene, let me start by informing you what's in it for me. When that individual entered the room without uttering a word, something shifted in me. I became aware of my own presence in that room as well. Your vivid description painted a moment so vividly, it brought it to life. Be fully present, fully engaged. Explaining with gravitas, the leading with presence is not merely an act, but rather a skill you refine. That's that aura you emanate. Their presence conveys the subtle authority. Be present. Using the triad of authenticity, communication, and beware where your feet are, emphasize the importance of leading with presence to be present. Sharing your own story with Mr. N and Mrs. RM highlights your ability to lead with presence, particularly since it nearly led to a conflict. You wanted to fight, did you say? The demonstration of integrity by friends underscores what true leadership is all about. Your pauses, your gestures, your vocal variety, your poor pacing of speaking captivated me until the very end, even after 24 minutes. Your call to action for effective leadership is to take a moment to breathe before responding, to pause, and to listen attentively without interruption. This serves as a helpful reminder for me, probably also for you, everybody else, to practice these principles. Lead not just with your words, but with your presence, because that is where the real influence begins. That's the power of presence. Be present to lead. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Hannah. I liked your evaluation as well. It was very animated, showing the ears and when you're speaking, so you're showing exactly what you mean. And I really like that. That was very detailed and specific evaluation with specific things that were good and things that were could be improved. Thank you, Hannah. Next, I have evaluator Francoise, who will be evaluating the first speaker, Elena.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Toastmaster Elena, woo! Having a good visual backdrop and also, I mean, your presentation, you excel exceptionally well. You basically allowed us to have a smoky, clear transition from one point to the next. The real life examples remove the smoke from our eyes to understand how important it is to, one, lead by example, two, and generational curse, because you were very specific throughout. And that had me thinking. When you mentioned about smoking and the meat, I honestly thought to myself, oh, she's going to share about the only thing smoke she wanted was smoked meat from the grill, Yeah. So there's some things that you wanted me to look out for, and I'm sharing it in the evaluation as you requested. Behavior coming up to a joke. You were very anxious, even in your body language, I could tell that. But here's the good news. This builds up the momentum of what is expected. Response after making the joke, you pause to allow it to sink in the minds of the audience. And you want to know about your eye contact and confidence if it was appropriate on spot. Do you seem to enjoy the joke? Very comfortable to even share what your children shared with you. Gen Z language is not ChatGPT. I think we all know that by now. And the last question you asked, do I seem to feel comfortable in the moment? Throughout this presentation, you're very involved from beginning to end. What do we want to work on? The question you asked me was, do I wait for the audience to laugh? Here's a way to ask questions, or two, to the audience by repeating the joke, calling a name. It will keep the smoke called sleep off of their eyes. I actually learned this recently, that whenever you're doing a presentation, calling a name, it will help keep the audience attention, because they know at some point in your presentation, you will call on any one of them. To challenge yourself, keep practicing by engaging your listeners with questions now and again. Sometimes it's for them to answer it, other times for them to think on it. Overall, an excellent presentation, very balanced. It hit key areas of your speech, knowing you, Elena, in this icebreaker speech with a difference. It was. And always remember, a presentation is as good as a well-prepared food. It must have the right taste and looks to consume in the mind very well, like a smoked mango ribs, made well in the homemade barbecue sauce, which goes down well with a mango wine from Antigua and Barbuda. Back over to you, Toastmaster of the, General Evaluator, smoked mango ribs.
Thank you, Francoise, for that very detailed evaluation. I'm just impressed by the last portion of your evaluation with the advice that you gave her, and then the fact that you showed us the mangoes as well. Well, it's kind of made me hungry, but it really was added something extra to your evaluation. So thank you for that. And I think it definitely made us all laugh. Thank you so much. Now we will talk about, we'll have Leah, who's going to evaluate our second speaker, Luciano.
Thank you so much for that, Madam General Evaluator. How do you know that you are true to yourself? Luciano, today you shared with us a very interesting speech. You went into telling us about what it is that guides you when you make decisions. You told us about the values and beliefs that we have that can help us as we make our decisions. And you shared with us that what guides you is honesty and integrity. It was very clear from your speech that these two aspects are very dear to you, and they are definitely your guiding light as you move through life. You shared with us your experience, some of your experience about the team that you had, and you were very clear in the story that you presented today, and even at the end where you gave us a challenge, telling us what is it that is guiding us, giving us something to think about as you concluded your speech. There was 2 items that I picked up that you may want to work on. As this project, the main objective was for you to share your experience about leading a team. For me, I felt your introduction was very long in terms of when you were going into the things that guide you as you make your decision. And that left very little time for you to actually share with us how you led your team and the experience that you got from that. I would have loved to hear more about the duration that you were spent leading the team, even if you had shared aspects about the composition of the team, and then just more details about some of the situations that you faced and how it helped you grow as a leader. And then one other aspect that I think maybe you can also work on, because you were sharing with us a story, it would have been great for you to incorporate some sort of dialogue. Then that helps you to add some vocal variation in your speech. As when you presented your speech, it was seeming to just be on one particular level. Other than that, well done in the presentation of your speech today. I would actually recommend that relook at the speech objectives and maybe re-give the speech again where you really focus on the objectives of the speech and you share more about your experience about leading the team. Thank you so much in the presentation of your speech, and looking forward to hearing more speeches from you. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Leah. Your evaluation was very detailed and specific. I like the fact that you were prepared reading what the objective of the project was. So you were able to see that maybe the speech did not meet the objective, and then giving advice about doing the speech again and looking at the objectives and trying to make the speech good. So I thought that was really good, because sometimes we don't look at evaluators, don't look at the objective of his speech. It was a good speech, but it's good that you pointed out that he needs to meet the objective. Thank you. And our next, we will call on Ray Rivero to evaluate the speech of Guerdah Felix.
Observation and help us grow, but also remind us.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. Guerdah, I want to give you the gravitas of what you did well, how we can improve, and what we can work together on to challenge yourself. So let me begin to count some of the ways that you have excelled in presenting this speech. First, you grabbed our attention with a description from your favorite movie, The Last Samurai, with Captain Albrin on one side, Samurai Katsumoto on the other, about you are here. And then you went onto your journey, starting with the lows, moving up to the highs. I love the transition of what you presented in this speech. I'd also love how you read it's contrasting in the background, because it helped you and the audience focus on you and, by definition, your story. You had good gestures, expressive body language, and most importantly, dynamic language with examples. Awesome. Now let's see what challenges that you're going to have me as your evaluator suggest about working on. One obvious thing is that the Zoom presence was good, but I noticed that some of the gestures kind of went out like this. And sometimes with the limited Zoom stage is that we sometimes are not cognizant about the use of our gestures. One idea is to just step back a one or two steps to express more of yourself. And with that, I also want to thank you for standing while you do your speech. That was good, because it allows you much more free flow of your body language, of your expressions. So just maybe we can add, or you can add, a little extra facial expressions to express how down you felt, and how up you felt when you got out of being in the situation that you're in. And let the body language guide your flow to how you feel. Now, to challenge yourself, I personally felt that this was a powerful speech with a great audience. They got your attention. But I would love to see more of the example of the contrast. To tell the audience, are you Alrin or are you Katsumoto? And maybe you can just say, I want to get out from you are here to I'm out of here. By sitting, by observing, and with feeling. Over to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Ray, for that really good evaluation, where you told Gerda what you thought she did good, right? What she did excellent on, and what you thought she should improve. I always encourage people to stand, so that was very good, pointing that out, that she was standing, and that pointing out she should use facial expressions and body language to help with her speech. Sometimes we forget about those things. So you're reminding her was very good. Thank you. And now we will call on Rozy Rana to evaluate the speech of Mrinal. Ghosh.
Dreamers who dream and then take action will achieve the greatest heights. This was the central message that Mrinal shared with us today. Mrinal, you excelled at many elements in speaking. First of all, your authentic storytelling. Your narrative of growing up in a village where dreaming was a luxury, but you continued to dream and take action. And then you rose to the position of a marketing manager at GlaxoSmithKline, really touches the heart. It shows the journey from humble beginnings to becoming a very senior leader in a corporate world. And I commend you, congratulate you at achieving these heights. You had an inspiring message and you continued to call us to action, where you kept on telling us to dream big. You encouraged us as the audience that no matter what your circumstances, if you have long-term goals, you have a clear path of achieving them, you will attain them. So thank you for inspiring us. Your structure was a motivational structure where one tells a story, makes a point, and your point obviously was that you can rise to these heights, and then you called us to action. So beautifully done in all of that, and clearly a motivational, inspiring speech delivered with passion, and we could feel the authenticity as you delivered that message. So, Mrinal, what would I recommend today? Your speech required you to share elements about your vision. And if I was to encourage you, it would be to come with a central vision statement. Be very clear on what you want. The introspection is great. Now, what do you want in future? In many ways, I felt I got multiple messages. First, with GlaxoSmithKline, it was more about you wanted to enable access of medicine to everyone, which is fantastic and very noble. You talked about, how people should set goals. You talked about wanting to be a leader who serves with value, who has with excellence. Again, beautifully done. You encouraged us, or your entire speech was possibly your desire to be motivational by sharing your story. I encourage you to find that central theme, which would be your vision and where you want to stand in life, where you see your purpose. One of those, because all of those are powerful if you could pick one. All in all, your speech was a testament to the power of dreams, to the power of determination. And I congratulate you for how far you've come and keep climbing that ladder with a clear articulation of your vision, central vision statement. I think that will really elevate your leadership because your journey serves as an inspiration, and it will inspire others to follow you, which is what a vision should do. Thank you so much. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Wow, Rosie, that was very good. Excellent evaluation. I'm glad you talked about his motivational structure. That his speech was very motivating, and the passion and authenticity that he had in his speech. You talked about a visual statement. You said they had a lot of different statements, and that he should choose one. Maybe you could next time give an example of what you mean. Maybe he might not understand what you mean by his visual statement, so you could give an example there. But very well done, excellent evaluation. And I'd like to ask the timer to put the times in the chat, and I call on Holmes Tang to give us the general, to give us the grammarian report.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I'm very happy to say that the word gravitas has been used by most of our role players today. I'd just like to point out two, Brahm and Renan, who have used the word even before I verbally announce the word of the day, because it is on the screen. Thank you so much for all the role players' support of the word of the day. For suggestions of our language use, I'd like to focus on two areas. Firstly, when we speak with our language in a meeting like Leadership Speak, I'd like to encourage everyone to avoid the use of abbreviations. For example, Irene used tech changes. I would greatly prefer it if we use a more formal way of technological changes rather than tech changes. Secondly, a number of us, such as Guerdah, Mrinal, and Rana, tried to use the technique of having trios. When using trios, I suggest taking out words that feel like filler words, like it gives away a little bit. Instead, go straight into your trios with some pauses and some emotions. Using the one that Garuda had, I eat ice cream to numb my pain, my fears, and myself. There are a great number of words and phrases that were used. I'll just point out 3 that hit me as I was listening. One from Erini. Presence is not about perfection. It is about persistence. Garuda, until the time you are who you are created to be, you are here. Hana, lead not just with your words, but with your presence. Be present to lead. Overall, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests, this is an excellent meeting with excellent uses of language. A gentle reminder to all our self-directed leaders here that when we speak, our language is not just about the words that we use, but how we use with pace, with pitch, and with emotion. With that, back to Madam General Evaluator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Holmes, for that very detailed grammarian report. You definitely were paying attention to the good good use of language and how many times the word they was used. So now I think it's time for my grammarian report, and I'll keep it short because we're running behind schedule. The meeting began on time, which was good, and through the educational speaker ran a bit over time in her speech, but that was very well done. All the evaluators spoke with gravitas, making their feedback both impactful and credible. And the meeting was very well organized and ran very well, but we're just running a little bit over time. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator, Ms. General Evaluator, for your evaluations with the meeting, with thoughtful insights and encouraging feedback. Your observation not only help us grow, but also remind us of the power of constructive support in becoming better communicators and self-directed leaders. It's always inspiring to see how each part of the program connects back to our theme, lead with presence. With that, we now moving on to wrapping up our insightful meeting on the theme, lead with presence. I shared earlier a guide with clarity on our theme, then followed by the gain valuable tips from the education session, and were inspired by the toast. Now to leave us with final reflection. Oh, I see that you can choose now. You can vote the best effort evaluator. Oh, and were inspired earlier by the toast. Now to leave us with one final reflection, Nicole White will deliver the thought of the day. Nicole has been a Toastmaster for 5 years. She joined Leadership Speak few months ago. Let's hear from Nicole White, the thought of the day. Over to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Renan. Lead with presence. Leading with presence is the most valuable currency. That's a quote from Jim Detmar, an executive coach and leadership author, known for his work on conscious leadership. It reminds me of my time in finance and accounting. Our financial controller, Claudette McLeish, was a leader who truly embodied presence. During intense month-end deadlines, she didn't just give instructions, she showed up. She checked in, rolled up her sleeves, and helped us meet those deadlines. We felt supported, seen, and motivated to deliver. Her presence wasn't just occasional, it was intentional, authentic, and consistent. And that made all the difference. Earlier, Toastmaster Renan mentioned Barack Obama, describing how his presence reflected the 3 C's: calm, clarity, and control. That's the kind of leadership present that inspires confidence, especially in uncertain moments. And our leadership speaker, Irene, shared about her former manager, Mr. RN, who led with 3 pillars of presence: authenticity, communication, and mindfulness. A true example of leading with intention and care. As we are about to close the curtain for today's meeting, will you lead like my former financial controller, Ms. McLeish, like Mr. RN, like Barack Obama? Will you show up with presence? Back to you, Toastmaster Renan.
Thank you, Nicole. Have we already launched the poll for the best evaluator?
Yes, we have. And it's ended.
Okay. So now I think we need to reveal the winners for the best effort speaker and evaluator. First, let's announce the best effort speaker. I don't have winners now, but of course, our hosting here. The best effort speaker is best evaluator, Rozy Rana. Congratulations. For the best speaker, best effort speaker, Elena Constantinou. Congratulations. Congratulations for our best effort speaker and evaluator, but all our winners here, fellow Toastmasters, including guests. Now, it concludes some thanking everyone from the greeter until to the last role player, thought of the day. Thank you for being part of this meeting. I appreciate your effort, your speech. It's really all insightful. Now I will hand the control to Bram to run the business part of the meeting, feedback from the guest, and the adjournment.
Thank you, Renan. Thank you, Renan, for running that wonderful meeting today. And I will hand it back to you as soon as I finished for you to adjourn. We have quite a number of guests here to acknowledge. Quite a number of guests actually did complete the guest book. So Renan, that was well done, that the guests actually filled in the guest book. And actually, I've already connected with 3 guests who will probably join very soon, looks like, from what they've been telling me. I would like to see if Sonia is in the room, however. I haven't spoken to Sonia over the text messages. Is Sonia here? Sonia Morel, can you put on your video and put on your sound? If you're around, if not, I'll move on. All right. Looks like Sonia isn't going to be around. I'll move on to Robin Stone. Hello, Robin.
Hi, Bram.
Hey, Robin. We are
Sorry,
looking
I'm
forward to
hiding
you
in the
joining on June
shadows
the
here.
1st. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm joining you on June the 1st.
Awesome. So
yeah,
I will get your membership application on Monday, as you've said, and we'll have you on board June 1st. I look forward to it, Robin.
No, me too.
Are we
Thank
going
you.
to roll some stones with you?
I guess so, yeah.
Ooh, I can get no.
Yeah, okay.
Satisfaction. Hey, for those who are young, people don't know what song that is, of course. Oh, they probably do. Okay, our next guest is, let me have a look at the screen here and see who it is that we can call. Unique Nekundi. Hi, are you there? And then we have a Freedom Wanyasi. All right, and actually
Yes,
Freedom.
I'm here. Present.
Hey, Unica, can you put on your video so we can see you?
I won't be able to do that now.
Not a problem. Where are you from, Unique?
I am from Windhoek, Namibia.
Sorry, say that
Namibia.
again. Oh, you're from Namibia. Oh,
Yes, so
Hannah.
yes, so I am from Tarendal Toastmasters Club.
So you know Hannah?
Unica. Hi, Hannah.
All right, good. So now, Unique, are you thinking of becoming a member? I can see on the guest book that you said no, actually. Oh, okay. So how did you find?
I persuade her.
You're going to twist her arm so she can't say no?
Yes, I will.
All right, we'll leave that to Hannah then.
She's got a very strong arm. Be careful.
Right.
Thank you, Unica.
All right, thank you, Hannah.
So how did you enjoy our meeting anyways, Unique?
I actually learned so much, and I realized that the way we do things at our club is a bit different from the online
Sure.
meetings.
Mhm.
Yes, I can see this is indeed advanced, and I'll be joining every time so that I can learn more.
Sure. You're welcome to join anytime. Thank you. Next on the
Right.
screen is Freedom Wanyasi from Mombasa, my hometown. So that's very
Hey,
special.
Braham.
Hey, Frida.
Hello, good day, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. I come from Mombasa Island Toastmasters Club in Kenya. I'm happy to have joined you guys. I'm planning to be a dual member at the end of this month.
Wonderful.
I would love to join leaders.
Mhm.
It's a unique club, and I'm so happy to be in here.
Wonderful. And do you know Caroline Maramba?
Yeah, I invited her to join this
Oh,
Saturday.
wow. Uh-huh.
I sent her to fill in the form for the guest. She comes from my club, Mombasa Island.
Awesome. So before you even join, you are inviting guests to come in. That is great. All right, Frida, just send in your application form, and then we'll take it from there and get you to be a member by June the 1st.
Thank you so much.
We look forward to it. Okay. And I think that about completes everything here that I need to talk through. Is Leah here? I think
No,
Leah's
she's left.
She's left. Okay. In that case, I will pass this back on to our Toastmaster of the day to adjourn the meeting. Over to you, Renan.
Okay, thank you, Bram. Thanks, everyone. And this concludes my role as your Toastmaster of the day. I now call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
If you can ask for the recording to be stopped.
Okay, Mr. Zoom Master, we can now stop the recording. Thank you.